I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
The big stories tonight. Senator Ping Lacson says it was not President Bongbong Marcos who had billions inserted in the 2025 budget as alleged by Zaldi Co, but in fact 2 undersecretaries who had access to Malacanang.
And $1 billion worth of key Filipino agricultural products have been exempted from the US's 19% tariffs after months of negotiations.
And Ombudsman Boying Remulla says he is sure there is an ICC arrest warrant out for Senator Bato de la Rosa, adding that surrender of the former Duterte PNP chief to The Hague remains an option.
Sabi niya, naghatid ako ng pera as kickback, but not to the President, but to Yusek Olaybar, kasama si Yusek Adrian Bersamin.
I had my suspicions already before about the activities of Undersecretary Adrian Bersamin. So I got to learn about later on, and I'm not surprised because there may be temptations on the side for that.
President Bongbong Marcos has nothing to do with it. At least that's what Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Senator Ping Lacson said as far as the 100 billion peso insertion in the national budget is concerned.
Senator Lacson said this was all detailed to him by former Public Works Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, who had testified a number of times on the flood control hearings, and he had advised Bernardo to write to the president. Moments after the letter arrived at the palace, the cabinet resignations happened.
Meanwhile, another cabinet member has accused presidential sister, Senator Imee Marcos, of making noise because she will be implicated in the flood control scandal soon. Mean Los Baños has tonight's big story.
Senator Ping Lacson says he felt bad for President Bongbong Marcos after his own sister, Senator Imee Marcos, openly accused her own brother of using drugs with his wife, Liza, and son, Congressman Sandro, on day 2 of the Iglesia ni Cristo Rally for Transparency.
Alam mo, that's very un-Filipino, no? Kasi tayo, mag-aaway man yung magkapatid, diba, nalilimit yung usapan within the confines of the home. Or at most, minsan, binubulong sa mga kaibigan na sinisiraan yung kapatid. But not in front of hundreds of thousands of Filipinos. Especially in a religious gathering.
The only motive Lacson could think of for her doing that is politics. Senate President Tito Soto also has this to say about Imee's fiery speech.
It could be the defining moment of her political career.
Davao City 1st District Congressman Pulong Duterte immediately issued a response, saying if what Senator Imee said was true, then the Filipino people deserve clarity, not excuses. He said all this has intensified their call for all government officials to undergo drug testing. No one exempted, no one to be accorded special treatment. For Akbayan Party List Representative Percy Sendanya, Senator Imee's outburst has strengthened their conviction that government should not be a family matter. Thus, the urgent need to pass the Anti-Political Dynasty Bill. Even Presidential Advisor for Poverty Alleviation Secretary Larry Gadon hit Senator Imee.
Kaibigan kita pero hindi ganyan dapat ang ginagawa mo. Sinisira mo yung pangalan ng buong pamilya nyo.
He also defended the First Lady, whom Senator Imee said was also into drugs. Gadon accused her of attempting to make noise because the senator will allegedly be implicated in the flood control investigation soon.
Malapit na kumanta yung iyong bagman dyan sa Ilocos, yung mga DPWH projects na yan. At sa aming narinig din na si Diskaya pala ay contributor sa campaign mo.
Meanwhile, Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Ping Lacson confirmed the existence of a 100 billion peso insertion in the 2025 national budget. But Lacson scoffed at the idea that it was Marcos who ordered the BICAM to do it.
Yung gusto kasi ng iba, paniwalaan natin na sa Pangulo ang nag-utos mag-insert. But it doesn't make sense to me. Common sense. Siya nag-utos, ibibito niya.
According to Lacson's information, someone could have just used the name of the president.
May mga tao sa Malacanang, not authorized by the President, who misrepresented him.
But how did Lacson know for certain that the president had no hand in the DPWH project kickbacks? According to Lacson, former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo himself, who has testified to the committee a number of times, called him up just last Sunday to discuss in detail where all the kickbacks went and how the 100 billion pesos was inserted in the budget. There was no mention of the president. Instead, Bernardo said it was resigned DepEd Undersecretary Traigiv Olayvar, who was the one who conducted meetings on the unprogrammed appropriations for the Office of the Executive Secretary. Olayvar resigned on the same day as Lucas Bersamin, Amena Pangandaman, and Legislative Liaison Head Adrian Bersamin. And per Bernardo's account, Olayvar received kickbacks together with Adrian Bersamin.
Talagang sabi niya, naghatid ako ng pera as kickback, but not to the president, but to Yusek Olayvar. And sabi niya, ang pag-alam niya, kasama si Yusek Adrian Bersamin. 8 billion pesos, Mr. President, in at least 10 deliveries. Yung arrangement nila is, may tigisa silang armor van. May armor van si Yusek Olayvar, may armor van siya, darating yung van driven by Olayvar, and possibly, sabi niya, hindi siya sigurado, and possibly along with Adrian Bersamin. Bakante yung armor van, ipapark, idadrab yung isang van na puno ng pera.
The biggest delivery, Bernardo told Lacson, was back in March 11, which amounted to 2 billion pesos for Olayvar. This is allegedly separate from the 1 billion Bernardo said he personally delivered to former DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan. Of the 81 billion peso total budget that went to DPWH projects, Bernardo said he personally supervised 52 billion pesos. And he said to Lacson that per Olayvar, Bonoan had asked E.S. Lucas Bersamin who should facilitate the 52 billion funding. The answer Bonoan got, kami na ang bahala. Lacson then suggested that Bernardo write the president. Just yesterday, the palace received this letter, and that very day was when several cabinet members resigned.
Cortes resignation is a euphemism for firing. The president is a very kind-hearted person.
In our sister program Storycon, Ombudsman Boying Remulla said Adrian Bersamin could face charges of conspiracy to commit plunder.
I had my suspicions already before about the activities of Undersecretary Adrian Bersamin. He was already in my radar for a long time, and it's Traigiv that I just got to learn about later on, Traigiv Olayvar, and of course about the involvement of Bina Pangandaman. And I'm not surprised because there may be temptations on the side for them.
Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
Well, to be clear, Ombudsman Remulla said it was Adrian Bersamin on his radar, not former Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin. But he did tell us he was disappointed in E.S. Bersamin for letting someone like Adrian, quote-unquote, run around the place. Remulla also said that if anyone was capable of doing something bad, well, it was Adrian.
Yes, that because the behavior of somebody close to the ES should not be countenanced by anybody, especially that this is relative. So at that time, I just let it go. But I knew already that if there's somebody capable of doing it, it was this guy.
So to be very clear, Yusek Adrian Bersamin was already on your radar, but was E.S. Lucas Bersamin also on your radar at that point?
Not really. Not Yusek, not Secretary Bersamin.
Okay.
Not the Executive Secretary. But I deemed it a bit of a weakness on his part to allow somebody like Adrian to run around the place, and it was very disconcerting for me to see that because it's hard work. It's hard work as DOJ Secretary. We risk our life every day, and we don't like people like him running around taking liberties with the power that's given to us in their office.
The Ombudsman's comments come after Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson said Roberto Bernardo identified Adrian Bersamin and Traigiv Olayvar as the people who allegedly used President Marcos's name to insert the 100 billion pesos into the 2025 budget. Remulla said what Adrian Bersamin did could constitute conspiracy to commit plunder.
Well, sa graph yan. It will go to 019.
Ibig sabihin kung papailan siya ng
Section
kaso, Yeah, kung papailan siya ng kaso, ano yung magiging kaso against him?
Well, actually, ang unang supposition ko rito is sa conspiracy. Conspiracy to commit plunder. Conspiracy to commit plunder, and if not malversation. It could have been malversation, but right now it's evident. It looks like conspiracy to commit plunder.
Oh, the Marcos family feud has taken a bitter turn. In case you missed it, here's what Senator Imee Marcos said about her brother, the president, and her sister-in-law, First Lady Liza Araneta. And in front yet of thousands of Iglesia Ni Cristo members at the Carino Grandstand last night.
Patid ko na nagda-drug siya. Nalaman ko at ng pamilya, nalaman ng pamilya, seryoso ito. Minsan, kami ng Presidential Guard at Metro Gompa ang naglilinis tuwing nagpa-party po sila.
Palace spokesperson Claire Castro immediately came to the president's defense. But it was this reaction from presidential son and House Majority Leader Sandro Marcos that elicited a reaction from Senator Imee. In a statement, Sandro lamented what he described as a painful betrayal within the family, as he had long maintained respect for his aunt, acknowledging the role she played during the early years of his public life. But that respect, he added, has been met with accusations that crossed a line aimed at destabilizing this government to advance her own political ambitions. Sandro then condemned Senator Marcos's repetition of allegations against the president, the First Lady, and for the first time himself, calling them not only false but dangerously irresponsible. The House Majority Leader urged the public to stay focused on facts and to not fall for narratives meant to damage the administration. He ended his statement with, "Hindi ito asal ng isang tunay na kapatid," in all caps. This immediately got the senator's attention. In a Facebook post this morning, the senator said her nephew seems to be stirring a long-time speculation that she is not a real Marcos sibling. Imee then offered a simple solution to it. She'll take a DNA test, and the First family will take a hair follicle test for drug use. This was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro's response to the senator's challenge.
Ulitin natin. Paulit-ulit, uulit-ulitin natin, hindi po tayo magpapadala kung ano ang sinasabi ng mga maiingay. Matagal na po itong naresolba. Uulit-ulitin ko paulit-ulit. Ang Pangulo po ay malinis at ang Pangulo po ay hindi magpapadala sa anumang pag-uudyok.
In other news, more than $1 billion of Philippine agricultural products will be exempted from the 19% tariff to the United States. And that is the happy news that came out of a press conference held this afternoon by DTI Secretary Chris Roque, former Special Assistant on Economic Affairs Frederick Go, and Board of Investments Chair Seferino Perry Rodolfo. The list includes key produce including coconuts, mangoes, bananas, and pineapples. These are all products that the Trump administration has acknowledged cannot be produced easily in large quantities stateside. Other items to be exempted are coconut oil, both crude and other than crude, which is the country's top agri-export to the U.S. Fruit juices that are and processed pineapples are likewise exempted. Desiccated coconuts, prepared or preserved coconuts, dried guavas, mangoes and mangosteen, frozen tuna fillets, rice wafer products, and confectionery products. This comes after 4 months of extended negotiations between the U.S. and the Philippines. Recall that President Trump announced the 19% tariff in July when President Marcos visited him at the White House. Secretary Go, citing U.S. trade data, said the latest exemptions amount to over $1 billion in export value, while Yusek Rodolfo says this will make over 46% of Philippine exports to the U.S. tariff-free.
We're very glad today that we're bringing good news that these products are now exempted. Based on the United States data, the exempted agricultural products amount to over $1 billion, no? Or $1.03 billion. So it's a very significant export.
It may be recalled that since May of this year, the Philippine government has been engaging with the United States with a view to address the impact of the reciprocal tariffs to Philippine exports. This decision to expand tariff exemptions for a wide range of key Philippine agriculture products provides important relief for our exporters and reinforces the strength of our trade relationship. These industries sustains thousands of Filipino farmers, MSMEs, and rural workers, and this decision offers not only immediate relief, but also renewed confidence and stability.
Other agricultural products that are no longer subject to the 19% U.S. tariffs include coffee and tea, cocoa and spices, oranges, tomatoes, beef, and some fertilizers. Electronics and semiconductors, which were already previously exempted, will remain tariff-free, according to the trade officials. Electronics are the Philippines' single biggest export product to the U.S. These exemptions were announced just one day after incoming Executive Secretary Ralph Recto finally admitted that the economy is now on a slower growth trajectory. He said the economy should grow between 4.7 to 4.8%, well below their original target of 5.5 to 6.5%.
All right, let's try to hash this out with our guest today. Joining us is DTI Undersecretary for the Industry Development Group, Undersecretary Seferino Peri Rodolfo. Good evening, Yusek Rodolfo.
Good evening to viewers of the Big Story. Good evening to Regina, Pauline, and Shawn.
And I should add, you're also the chair of the Board of Investments, which is why you were at that table earlier today during the press conference. So first of all, congratulations. Tell us how you guys managed to work this deal out.
Sorry, first, I'm not the chair. I'm just the vice chair.
Sorry,
the chair,
vice
the secretary
chair
of the Trade and Industry.
Okay, sorry.
So vice chair lang po.
I just promoted you, Yusek. Pero anyways, congratulations. Yes. I know you had a hand in this. So how did you guys work this deal out?
Actually, with a lot of patience and trust in that at the end, the system will work. If you would note, we have been receiving a lot of criticisms because other countries have been forging and signing, concluding their own agreements on reciprocal trade. Si Philippines po, medyo mas patient tayo because we're really looking at, for us kasi, it's better not to have any deal than a bad deal. And we felt that we just really have to be patient and constantly engage the U.S. in terms of what are our products of interest as well as what are the sectors that we needed to really protect. So, talagang patience lang ho ang ginawa natin as well as convincing the U.S. that these products are anyway not produced in the U.S. as well as also engaging with other similarly situated countries that whose exports are also affected. Yun kung nilabas ni President Trump na executive order last November 14. That applies not just to the Philippines but for everyone. Kaya lang ho, yung mga produkto, marami ho dun sa mga produkto na yun, ay agricultural products that the Philippines exports to the US. And very important, we are number 1, number 2, or number 3 in terms of our share of these products to the US. Quick example, halimbawa sa coconut, desiccated coconut, we are number 1 in terms of desiccated coconut as an exporter to the US. Crude coconut oil, the same, number 1 din ho tayo. Coconut fatty acids, number 1 din ho tayo. So while the exemptions are applied to all countries, the Philippines definitely will benefit more than other countries for these products.
So you guys basically built on that EO. You're correct, yung EO ni President Trump applies to all countries because they don't produce those products stateside. Pero you guys added onto that, particularly for things like coconuts and coconut products, which the Philippines produces. Would you say that you guys are 100% happy with this deal or may naiwan pa? That you
May mga naiwan pa, definitely. And these are products such as yung ating garments, which we really are fighting for when it comes to our negotiations with the US. Furniture, some automotive products, mga naiwan pa ho. And it's part of the ongoing negotiations with the US.
Okay, Yusek, nung ASEAN kasi ang daming na-bitter, no? Parang, uy, bakit wala tayong deal? But it was pointed out during that time na yung mga ASEAN countries who managed to secure a deal during the ASEAN, may kapalit kasi yung United States. In this case, meron ba tayong kailangan na i-give up para makuha itong deal?
Concessions.
Siguro. Tagalog na lang ako kasi
Sige lang.
siyempre ayaw din natin wala akong kapalit. Kasi this is a unilateral executive order. Sorry, sabi ko Tagalog. Unilateral na inilabas ni President Trump. Kaya wala ho itong kapalit. Yun yung kagandahan sa nakuha ng Pilipinas. Wala ho tayong binibigay pa, pero ito na ho yung mga nakuha natin. Samantalang yung mga ibang bansa, mix of commercial deals, like halimbawa, bibili sila ng mga ganito mga produkto, pagkatapos pagbubukas doon sa kanilang sektor na rin. Tayo ho, in our negotiations with the US, we've been adamant in protecting also certain sectors which are very sensitive to the Philippines, including, most importantly, certain agricultural sectors.
So there's no commitment for the Philippines to buy X amount of US products in exchange, just like other countries?
Opo, dito sa executive order ni President Trump na ito, wala po tayong ganong commitment.
And Yusek, how soon do you think can local producers feel the impact of these tariff removals? And what's the DTI's plan to make sure that this also reaches small farmers and not just large exporters?
Very important po yung tanong na yan. First of all, the executive order ni President Trump is immediately executory. Ibig sabihin as of midnight of November 13, kung yung mga produkto ay nilalabas na for shipment to consumers in the US, they will already benefit from this. So halimbawa kung meron tayong mga coconut farmers who are exporting, let's say, crude coconut oil or even yung ating cocoa water ini-export sa US, instead na 19% na country-specific tariff, magiging 0 na yun pagka shinip po siya after November 13. Very important ngayon talaga is really looking at the production side, and doon naman po pumapasok ang Department of Agriculture tungkol sa mga pagtulong nila sa mga nabanggitong mga farmers doon sa produkto na yon, coconut, bananas, pineapples, etc. Most of the beneficiaries dito sa executive order ni Trump are really our agricultural sector, yung mga nasa rural areas po natin.
Okay.
And the second part of Pauline's question, Yusek, is there a plan to make sure that the smaller scale farmers benefit from this too?
Dahil po dun sa profile ng mga produkto na magbe-benefit yung mga agricultural sector, most definitely it will be the farmers who will be the ultimate beneficiaries of this exemption.
Okay.
Pati yung mga smaller scale farmers, hindi lang yung industrial size.
Yes po, yes.
Okay, may I slightly change the topic to I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, pero since nasa BOI po kayo and you're the vice chair, of course I have to ask about investments. Everyone's been harping about how people are so afraid to invest here because of the climate. What's your experience in the BOI? Can you talk us through some numbers, Yusek, kung kamusta na ba talaga ang Pilipinas?
On the ground po, we've been seeing strong interest coming from investors, sustained strong interest in terms of investing in the country, in particular in the sectors of renewable energy, also on data centers, as well as on export manufacturing. Very important itong mga nakuha din nating concession now from the US because this will also drive up investments in agricultural processing. So tuloy naman yung investments na nakikita natin. Ngayon po, as we end the year, we are still hopeful that we will be meeting the BOI's target. There are, I think, 4 or 5 key projects that we are assessing right now. How I wish that we could just approve all of these projects as they have applied to us. But being a very prudent administrator of incentives, talaga binubusisi natin yung mga projects na to. There are 5 big ticket projects that are still for assessment by the Board of Investments, in particular on data centers, offshore wind power projects, at saka isang big infrastructure project.
Wow, okay. And Ano ba yung itatanong ko kay Sec? Yung meron ba tayong some sort of national industrialization plan that you were tasked maybe or mandated by Malacanang to start creating? Because this is one thing na, you know, a lot of people are lamenting, no, in the lack of support. Wala rin tayong plano, kumbaga, na long term.
Dalawa po yung nagko-converge dito. One is the market-orientedness of the Philippines, but at the same time, with the government working closely with the private sector, providing guidance. Ang mapapansin nyo dito, yun hong mga sectors that are benefiting from investments dito sa bansa ho natin have been those that are, number one, benefiting from policy reforms. Tapos second, yung easing of the doing business in the Philippines. And third, yung atin kong promotional efforts. Kung babalikan nyo halimbawa ang ating investments, sectors that have been driving investments, number one, renewable energy. And how did that come about? Dahil ko yun sa pagtanggal during this administration of the cap on foreign equity on renewable energy, which we did way back in, I think, November of 2022. After we removed that cap, pumasok na po yung mga investments. Tapos we are also easing the permitting process for renewable energy projects. Yun ho yung template na pina-follow natin as we develop the sectors. So kung renewable energy po, next po ang makita natin dito ngayon yung sa mining and mineral processing. That's why we are very thankful to Congress for passing the amendments to the mining fiscal regime. Tapos we are also working now on an executive order that would be easing the doing business and permitting processes without sacrificing the robustness of our being able to stick to environmental standards pagdating ko sa mining and mineral processing. And then the other sector that we are promoting would be yung data centers po. In particular, those that are driven by renewable energy.
Yusek, what about electronics and semiconductors? We mentioned earlier, they remain tariff-free. So has that given us additional leverage in terms of attracting more U.S. investments, like advanced manufacturing, for example?
Pagdating ko sa electronics, yung manufacturing side of the electronic sector is actually driven by the East Asian countries and economies. Kagaya halimbawa ng South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. So the brands really are US-based, but when it comes to their manufacturing capacities, they rely on the supply chain from these countries. Of course, there is an effort of the US to also bring back the manufacturing on the semiconductor and electronics. The Philippines plays a very important role when it comes to the supply chain for semiconductors and electronics, particularly po dun sa tinatawag natin assembly, testing, and packaging of the semiconductor products, leveraging our talented workforce. So yes, in short, yes, we have been getting investments when it comes to semiconductors and electronics, particularly dun sa assembly, testing, and packaging portion, as well as doon sa tinatawag nating na electronics contract manufacturing.
Yusek, you said you're still seeing strong interest from investors, but do you not get questions about how this massive flood control scandal that exposed how systemic corruption is in the country? Do you not have to field questions about that from foreign investors interested in setting up shop here?
Yes po, of course, that is also being asked by the investors. But of course, nakikita rin ko nila yung effort of this administration to really address the corruption issues. In particular, it has not been lost on our investors that it was actually the president who first raised awareness about the issue of corruption, in particular dito sa insertions on the flood control projects. And most importantly, not just raising awareness, but equally important, yun kung ginawa niyang pag-create ng independent commission to look into, to investigate, and eventually for the Department of Justice to prosecute these cases. So nakikita naman ho nila yan, tuhog-tuhog naman ho yung tingin nila doon.
Okay, and then just very quickly, itong 19%, is this the final number, or you are hoping to still bring it down somehow?
Yung 19%, of course, we're always negotiating to bring it down. But I think bringing it down would require a free trade agreement already with the United States. As it is, yung 19% is what they are offering to the region as a whole, but it's the exemptions that we are really negotiating with them.
Yeah, it is the One that they're offering to the region as a whole, yes, but as they also like to say, we are their strongest ally in Asia Pacific, right? So I was hoping we could leverage that somehow, but we'll leave the conversation there. Thank you so much for talking to us tonight, DTI Undersecretary and Board of Investments Vice Chair, Perry Rodolfo.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, the Ombudsman says Senator Bato de la Rosa could go the way of former President Rodrigo Duterte and be surrendered to the ICC. The details of that when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're watching the big story here in One News. The first set of cases against those involved in the flood control scandal has been filed. At 1:43 p.m. today, the Office of the Ombudsman filed before the Sandigan Bayan graft and malversation cases against former Congressman Zaldi Co, DPWH officials from Oriental Mindoro and Region 4B, and incorporators and officers of SunWest Construction. Along with the charges is a petition to cancel Zaldi Co's passport, which Ombudsman Remulla told Storycon means they don't have to go through DFA.
This week, there's already a pending motion together with the filing to cancel his passport. It's a court order already we're looking at, not anymore a DFA order. It's just filed with the docket division of Sandigan Bayan. It will be raffled off tomorrow. And after the raffle, the court itself will have to rule on whether to issue a warrant of arrest and to whether or not to cancel his passport.
Remulla also said he is willing to heed Co's call to investigate President Bongbong Marcos and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez for alleged involvement in budget insertions, but insisted that Co should come home first. The Ombudsman won't even entertain the idea of Co testifying via Zoom.
You have to have a sworn statement here to tell us what really happened and what role you played and how you found out everything, and you have to swear by it. And you cannot do that by social media.
Can you swear by it sa consul? Kasi yun ang sinabi kahapon sa amin ng DOJ.
That can be done. That can be done. But, you know, Imee, you have to be able to ask him searching questions also. We have to be able to notice his deportment and how he conducts himself. That's why face-to-face hearings are required. And you cannot just keep hiding.
Yes.
If you really want to tell the truth, we will protect him. But he has to come home.
Ombudsman Remulla, on another topic, also stood by his early statement that he already has a copy of Senator Bato de la Rosa's arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court. But he said he can't publicize the copy just yet because it's not the officially transmitted document.
Sure ako kay Bato, sure ako. It's a complication with the ICC. But I will stand by my word that there's a warrant. It will arrive officially very soon. I still have my copy, but it cannot be used because it has to be an official transmission.
Yes, sir,
because 9851 does not mention Interpol. We can do what has to be done with respect to the warrant issued by the International Tribunal.
When you say we will do what has to be done, really the only option there is surrender, because as we keep pointing out, it cannot be extradition because ICC is a judicial body, not a country. So the only option there is surrender, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so in short, we will surrender him.
Well, if that's the position of the executive department, I wouldn't disagree with them. Because when I was there, that's what we did.
And in other news, the Armed Forces of the Philippines is flagging possible foreign funding behind the weekend rally led by military retirees, a claim its organizers quickly dismissed. Acting AFP spokesperson Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad pointed to what he called an unusual support system at the United People's Initiative protest. He says they are checking all leads, including whether money came from local or foreign groups as part of efforts to ensure, quote, domestic concerns will remain domestic. Trinidad also warned of the bigger picture involving actors he later identified as China that would benefit from a divided Philippines. As Navy spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, he pointed to the Chinese Communist Party's United Front Work Department as active in the country.
Huwag nating kalimutan, meron tayong kapitbahay na nais ang mga Pilipino ay mag-away-away at ang Pilipinas ay mawatak-watak. Yung ating kapitbahay is yung malaking bansa being run by the Chinese Communist Party that will do everything under their means to sow discord within Philippine society.
But UPI founder, retired Major General Romeo Poques, rejected this allegation in a Facebook post saying, "Anong foreign funding? Hindi nga namin mapakain lahat ng nag-a-attend ng rally namin." UPI is composed mainly of retired military and police officials.
All right, to talk more about that, let's bring in Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, acting spokesperson of the AFP. Good evening, Rear Admiral. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, good evening, ladies. Magandang gabi sa taga-subaybay ng inyong show.
I apologize for the typo on your name right there, but it's Trinidad. Anyway, sir, ano daw? Saan daw galing tong claim that the UPI rally may have been foreign funded? Where did you hear that?
Alam mo, ladies, when we look at what is happening right now in the country, these are incidents not happening in isolation. If you look at the bigger picture of what's happening in the West Philippine Sea, we look at Bajo de Masinloc, we look at all the information, disinformation, malinformation being waged against the government, against the Philippines. There is a nexus, there is a point of intersection. And we would just like to be very sure that what is happening domestically is not linked to the bigger picture in the West Philippine Sea. And I mentioned that this morning that the rally conducted at the People Power Monument was well organized and well funded, unlike previous or the usual rallies that we usually see. So we are looking into all of this to see if indeed this was only by local sponsors. And we would like to be very sure, just to ensure that the state and the people are well protected and secured.
So you're looking into it, but at this point, have you found any sort of evidence or, evidence showing that they could have gotten funding somewhere else?
What we are looking at in the military are indicators. If you speak about law enforcement, they look for evidence beyond reasonable doubt. In the military, we look for patterns, we look for trends, we look for indicators that these activities are not normal. They are unusual, they are well organized, they are well funded. And if it warrants further investigation or validation, then at least we have a lead on where to look at.
Rear Admiral, can you talk us through these patterns that you're seeing? Are you at liberty to share some of them para rin kami at saka yung mga nanonood sa atin ay maintindihan at alam mo yun, matuto tayo mag-identify nitong mga patterns and trends?
Okay, I would like to start from the topmost.
Go ahead.
If we are talking about corruption in government, we all support that. The moment the narrative becomes inciting the AFP to withdraw support, it's a different story. We go one step down. If you are talking to the Chief of Staff, addressing him or the members of the AFP, that we have a president who does not anymore deserve the support of the Filipino people. If we look at information being waged against the AFP, demonizing the AFP, these are not anymore normal narratives of different groups that would like to support or call for an anti-corruption campaign in government. So all of this, like what I mentioned, we are looking at this because this will impact into the overall security of the country.
Okay, but sir, you are talking about retired generals. These are your colleagues, former colleagues here. Do you think na-infiltrate na po ng China kahit yung AFP natin?
When we speak of the United Front Works of the Chinese Communist Party, they operate very subtly. Yung iba dyan, hindi natin alam nakagamit na pala tayo. We don't know that one of in their playbook is to infiltrate society, infiltrate government, and to destroy it from within. What is their theory of victory? Just to be able to divide Philippine society and make us focus on internal concerns and not on the bigger picture na kung saan may interest sila, which is the West Philippine Sea. Now, if we start connecting the dots, We have had a local chief executive with a dubious background. We had the submersible drones in our maritime domain. We had alleged spies with high-tech equipment. We have had Chinese-looking nationals being arrested with fake government IDs. Nothing of this happens in isolation. And we are trying to look at if there are patterns or trends among all of these incidents happening in the country.
Have any connections been made between these dots that you just mentioned, sir?
That's part of the ongoing checks that we are doing, which at this moment I'm not at liberty to disclose yet.
Okay.
Sir, we have retired Major General Pokis denying this already. Sinabi pa nga po niya, what funding kung di daw nila mapakain yung mga attendees sa rally. What's your response to that, sir?
Well, again, it is still an ongoing check that we are doing. Anybody could say anything. If at the end then they come out clean, then we have nothing to worry about. But again, we have to look at the bigger picture and how the bits and pieces of the bigger picture fit in.
Okay. At to Pauline's point, no, sir, nabanggit na rin niya yung wala nga mapakain sa rally. Pero in your statement earlier to the press, you mentioned na napakabongga nung catering. Ano po ba yung napansin ninyong bonggang catering doon sa event? And what made you say that napaka-engrande nung planning? I think those were the words you used, sir.
When you have an air-conditioned tent, when you have catering services na naka-catering van, when you have the not average na pagkain na binibigay, hindi ito normal. This don't come free. There are people sponsoring this, funding this. Ang tanong sino? At bakit? Anong interest nila? And then we have a group of people attending the rally calling for the AFP to withdraw support from the president. These are not normal narratives from Filipinos. We are looking into all of this in coordination with the Philippine National Police.
But we have to admit, sir, napaka-divided po ng ating population right now, no? May mga kumakampi sa ganitong panig, may ganitong panig. Is it not possible that it's just actually domestically funded? Are you also looking into that?
I don't want to speculate on whether it's only domestically funded or may foreign funding. Again, we are looking into everything. What happened over the weekend is not normal. Makita naman natin yung preparation. And then they even requested for an extension ng isa pang araw. Ibig sabihin, kaya pa ng pondo nila. It just so happened na hindi na-deny yung kanilang extension.
As Pauline pointed out, this was one of the co-conveners of this is retired General Pokis. And then, of course, the other issue was that retired General June Esperon was also seen at that rally. And we spoke to him last night, in fact. He's not outright calling for the resignation of President Marcos, but he did say that he has to know his limits, right? If he is no longer able to fix this corruption issue, then he should know his limits. So read between the lines na lang. But my question there is, what does the AFP think of the fact that these are retired generals, retired officers of the military that are at the forefront of this?
Yes, first and foremost, we respect every Filipino's right to express freely, freedom of expression, and the freedom of peaceful assembly. Because this is what is afforded under a democracy. But at the same time, it is also incumbent upon every Filipino to protect the very freedoms that we enjoy under this democracy. If not, if we violate this, if we abuse this, it now becomes a gray line. Especially so, if you would like to incite the AFP to withdraw support. We have been very clear. It is our mandate to protect the sovereignty of the state, the integrity of the territory, and the Filipino people. We are busy doing our job. Yung mga nasalanta sa mga kalamidad, Bagyo, Lindol. We are looking after the West Philippine Sea. We don't want to be distracted from performing our mandate.
Okay, we'll leave that there. But thank you so much for talking to us and shedding light on the issue. That was Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad.
And we are pausing for another quick break, but right after that, 3 top departments of the Marcos administration are now in transition following Monday's sudden shakeup. That and more stories when we return. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back to the big story. A day after the cabinet shakeup, outgoing Finance Secretary Ralph Recto said he was surprised by his appointment as Executive Secretary. He noted, however, that government work must continue. Recto emphasized that his new role focuses on improving government services, speeding up department operations, and ensuring implementation of the Philippine Development Plan. Recto replaced Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, who resigned yesterday, alongside Budget Secretary Amina Pangandaman. Meantime, Budget Undersecretary Rolando Toledo also expressed surprise at his new position as officer in charge of the DBM. But Toledo said he is ready to lead the agency. For his part, new Finance Secretary Frederick Go said he is fully committed to promoting fiscal strength and sustainable economic growth for the country. He plans to work closely with government partners, the private sector, and the international community. Go was recently the Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs.
A Ukrainian human rights lawyer whose group won the 2022 Nobel Peace Prize is sounding the alarm about China's role in Russia's invasion of her country. She says what happened to them may very well happen to others if the authoritarian regimes are not stopped. Mobile journalist Fatima Baduria has that story.
Russia is China's proxy. That was the message from Ukrainian human rights lawyer Alexandra Matvichuk, who visited Manila recently to speak at Rappler's Social Good Summit. Matvichuk heads the Center for Civil Liberties, which was awarded the 2022 Nobel Peace Prize for their work documenting war crimes.
Russia is China's proxy. In the beginning of 2022, Putin went to Peking, met with Xi Jinping, and they made the joint statement about the new world order. And just several weeks after this, Putin started large-scale war. There is no coincidence.
Matvichuk says China is examining the war in Ukraine closely and supporting Moscow in a bid to challenge the US-led international order. She warns that if Moscow gets away with it, authoritarian forces around the world will be emboldened.
Russia openly broke UN Charter, so if Russia succeeds and will remain unpunished, it will encourage other authoritarian leaders in different parts of the globe to do the same, and we can find ourselves in a world which will be dangerous for everyone without any exception.
When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, propaganda and fake news ran rampant, and journalists were among those first targeted and tortured. Matvichuk says that's because disinformation campaigns is a key tactic in Russia's war of aggression, and the battleground is social media. She says big tech needs to be held accountable for its role in platforming mis- and disinformation.
We have to make the owners of big tech accountable. Because, I'm sorry, they are part of the problem. It's a battle for hearts and minds of people, and this battle has no national borders at all.
Indeed, the Philippines is no stranger to this, having been called patient zero in the battle against disinformation. The Ukrainian people remain resilient and will continue to fight, she says. But her hope is that like-minded democracies like the Philippines can make their voices heard before the authoritarian regimes get their way. For starters, she wants Manila to join the Special Tribunal, which is an international criminal tribunal to prosecute crimes of aggression against Ukraine when it's set up.
I hope that Philippines will join to the Special Tribunal on Aggression to send a huge, strong signal that aggressive war in 21st century is not welcomed.
We really need your help. It's very difficult to fight in this genocidal war, especially with this digital dimension.
And before we say goodbye, here is our big picture tonight. Finally, Google Pay is now available in the Philippines. The mobile payment service tied up with Visa and FinTechAlliance.ph for the official launch of the feature today, November 18. This means Visa cardholders can now add their debit or credit cards to Google Wallet and make transactions using Google Play. All they have to do is tap to pay using Android devices at contactless-enabled terminals. This also works for in-app and online purchases. There are 7 partner issuers for now, and these are China Bank, East West, GoTime Bank, Maya, RCBC, Union Bank, and Wise.
I felt finally it's here.
Finally. I was trying to, capture the feelings I read on social media.
About time. We've been waiting for contactless payment.
Have you been able to
No,
use
I wasn't trying to download it, by the way. I was trying to open the press release to find out exactly how the partner issuers, but then you just read it.
Yep.
I was like,
and this is the same technology that enables people to cut their time at the MRT and pay using just their Android phones because it's not
which is everywhere, which is available in many other countries already. You just tap your phone on the turnstiles, right? And you enter the train station.
Everywhere, not the coffee shops, restaurants, shopping, everything.
But because we are the financial scamming capital of the world, now I wonder, okay, do I want all of my data out there? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Right. But I think that chip is secure, right?
Oh, that chip is secure. And I don't think it goes through. I don't know how it works. Does it go through Philippines infrastructure? I'm not sure.
Maybe not.
But in any case, welcome news.
Welcome
for sure.
news, and maybe Apple Pay will be next.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed, it's really gonna be more convenient for a lot of Filipinos. It's faster, right? You don't need to bring out your card, so we're all excited for that. Okay, but for tonight, that's it for the big story. Thank you so much for watching.
We are back here tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. and we will see you then.
Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good night.